Good morning everyone. Welcome to a unexpected bonus video this month. It is going to be a bonus reading vlog, which I was not expecting to film or release this week. It is Easter Monday and I got home from Easter yesterday to find I had an email from Evie Mitchell as part of her eArc team, and it's because she has a new book that is out this week called Royal Salute, which is part of the Raining Hearts series. And I'm like, what better way to spend the last day of my school holidays but reading an Evie Mitchell book? So here we are. This is the plan for today. The Raining Hearts series is a book that currently has 2 books published in it already. So there is The Marriage Claim and Silent Night, which many of you will know that Silent Night is the Roy Kent inspired romance that Evie Mitchell wrote. And I do have the flippy book. And it's a really fun little series. And if you don't know who Evie Mitchell is, she's an Australian author. She is a really lovely human being. And I've met her through people here on BookTube. And then I also got to meet her in person and just had a great time getting to chat to her, reading all of her books, and just generally being an Evie stan. So it's kind of fun that she has a new book out. I am going to read it. I don't often just do, you know, random standalone reading vlogs for one book, but it's Evie, so we're going to do it. And it's going to be fun. So I think it's about 200 pages long, so it's not super long. Evie tends to do insta-love romance stories. They're usually very steamy. They are really fun and they feature lots of diverse representation. And before I get into the book, which by the way has 2 different covers, so if you're at all familiar with what Evie does, she sells wide, so she has her own website. You can purchase her books directly from her, which is a really great way to support authors. And she offers 2 versions of her covers. So she always has a sweet cover. So these are examples of the sweet covers. And then she also has steamy covers. And as the eArc team, we were given the choice of which one we picked. Did I download both of them? Yes, I did. Not that you can see it here, but that's the steamy cover. And I'll put pictures of both of them on the screen. So it's really fun. You kind of get to pick your poison on what you like. And hopefully when it's available as a paperback, you'll have those choices as well. But I'm going to actually just read you the information that came to me as an eArc team member, just so you get an idea of the book, because I literally only glanced at this last night. I just downloaded everything and went, right, I'm going to be filming that tomorrow. So the blurb says, do I choose duty or love? As the spare heir to the Estipian throne, I've always placed duty before desire. But when Captain Wurrundjeri re-enters my life, everything I thought buried comes rushing back. Our connection reignites like wildfire, even as we fight to protect the kingdom's sacred sites from ruthless mining interests. Where the world sees a prince, Wurrundjeri sees me and dares me to imagine a life not ruled by royal expectations. Our ancestors believe some souls find each other across lifetimes, their destinies etched in the stars. The question is, am I brave enough to follow mine? So this is a queer royal romance. And then in the content information that Evie provided, there is explicit sexual content, adult language references to homophobia and public scrutiny, political conflict and negotiation, positive representation of Indigenous and tribal cultures, discussions of family duty and expectations, mild angst and emotional conflict, parental death off page, and an HEA. It's also written in Australian English, so do not be going for Evie about spelling things incorrectly. She's Australian. The other thing that Evie is always really open about is the fact that she uses expert and sensitivity readers, and that she has done so for this. Says she's engaged both Indigenous and queer expert readers, because even though the world is a made-up place in the story, it's rooted in that idea of Indigenous or tribal cultures, so she wants to be as respectful to that as possible. And I love that. And I love that she's so open about talking about the fact that she has engaged them, and she's also open to people contacting her if they have any questions around that representation. Now, obviously, I'm not an Indigenous person, so I'm going to read that knowing that that's not my place to comment on that. I'm really excited. I'm really excited to read it because it's Evie Mitchell and I want a fun reading experience on the last day of my holidays. Let's do this. All right, lovely friends. So I am on page 108, chapter 9, which is 50% of the way through the book, and I'm loving it. It's very sweet and very fun. So the premise is you have Leo, who is the spare heir to Estipia, and you have Wurrundjeri. And the first part of the book is a prologue. It kind of sets up their relationship. They knew each other when Leo was going through special forces training with Wurrundjeri, and they became friends, and they kind of have this shared connection. And then in chapter 1 we jump forward 5 years, and Leo had previously been called back because his father was unwell, and in that time his older sister Kit has become queen. His younger sister has gotten married to a former royal bodyguard. Leo has also at one point in the past has been photographed at a club, and so basically had some backlash over being queer. And so that's kind of forced him to just follow duty, just be the spare heir, be the best he can. He served his country in a military capacity, but is also very deeply connected to his family's history and culture. His great-grandmother was from one of their indigenous tribes, and so he has made it his duty to understand all of that, to be a good ambassador for that. He comes face to face with Rangi again when all of the local tribes leaders come to the palace because they are trying to negotiate the protection of sacred places within the country, which is then going to be sort of juxtaposed with the passing of that legislation through the parliament, which is probably going to be the source of conflict. And it's the first time that Rangi and Leo have been in the same place for a significant period of time. His younger sister Charlotte is meddling because she knows that Leo had a thing for him. In chapter 8, they finally sort of admit their feelings, they connect, they do have sex, and I'm curious to see what the second half of the book is like. But I'm hungry. I need to go make food because I haven't eaten yet today. So I need to do that, and then I'm going to come back and finish the second half of the book. Hi friends. I don't normally talk while I make food, but we're going to talk through it, although you won't be able to see me because I don't have a stand that's going to show me and the food. And also please ignore the ginormous mess in the background. But I'm hungry, so I'm going to make I'm going to make a roll. I happen to have some salami left over that I need to use up, so I'm going to do that with some tomato and cheese, and then I also have leftover salad from Easter that I took from my parents' place, so I'm probably gonna have some of that as well. So before I started the vlog this morning, I did do some grocery shopping, and I just went to Baker's Delight to get some rolls because we like fresh rolls around here. So yes, anyway, I'm enjoying the book. It's a little bit more kind of angsty than, well actually I'm not gonna say than I was expecting. I think it's very much this book about a prince who is bound by duty and has put himself on hold for that entire time because he feels like he has to. He doesn't want to shame his sister or his family. That makes it really difficult for him to admit, you know, that when he wants something, he, you know, has the right to it. He doesn't think that he does. Cheese. This is the leftover salami that I was eating last week. And yes, I am just throwing things into the sink. I will put it in the bin afterwards. Okay, so salami, cheese. Let's do some tomato. Okay. Rubbish can go in this. Set that for later. Alright, paper towel because tomatoes just go everywhere. I'm such a tomato sandwich, like fresh bread tomato. It's my favorite thing ever. Sandwich so far. And then I'm going to put some of this, I don't know if it's going to focus. I have a feeling I was talking and I wasn't recording. So in case I didn't, I added some of this summer herb salt, which is Australian sea salt, salt bush, fennel, mint, chive, thyme, purple cornflower, oregano, tarragon, dill, and calendula. Supposedly has 70% less salt than table salt, but tastes delicious. Just put that on the tomatoes. And I'm having the pear and rocket salad, or some of the pear and rocket salad that was left over from yesterday. There's also a grain salad, which I will have later. And that is going to be my lunch. Hello lovelies. So I have finished Royal Salute and it was just as delightful and lovely as I was hoping it would be for this last day of the holidays. So I think, as I said in the first clip, we were gearing up towards sort of the political manoeuvring and the negotiations around protecting sacred traditional sites. And initial negotiations did not go well because of course the mining corporations are involved, and if you know anything at all about Australia and politicians and the mining corporations, whew. Anyway, that was hitting a little bit too close to home in terms of that, but Leo and Rangi come up with a brilliant solution to kind of work around that. And then you also have Kit, who is the queen and Leo's sister, just coming up with brilliant ways of just building their relationship, the relationship that they've discovered, into everyday life, and it not being a big thing, it not being a huge formal announcement, and just, you know, paving the way forward for the official announcement that the spare heir is queer and eventually will marry a man. And it's just so lovely. And all of the inclusions of Evie Mitchell's world of culture and storytelling, like it's so nice, and just a good reminder that we need to pay attention to what's going on. Like it's just a great reminder. So it was lovely. It was a really lovely, lovely, lovely way to end the holidays. So thank you for joining me for this little vlog, and thank you to Evie for the eArc copy to review it. And I just am delighted. I had a great time. Just left me with a smile on my face, which that's always fantastic. So in the comments, I'd love to know, have you read the Raining Hearts series? Are you planning on picking it up? I think this might be my favorite one of 3. That's saying something because I love Silent Night. I love this book. And if you just want to let me know that you're here, feel free to leave your favorite emoji in the comments. I hope that wherever you're on the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.